Now I'd like to introduce Roisin Lonergan, who is the artistic director of the Five Lamps Festival, and a great festival it's supposed to be.
That's it.
Can you tell us a bit about the festival, how it started, where the idea came from?
Okay, well, it was actually my idea. I set it up in 2007.
Right.
I was working as a teacher in the North Strand in the ETB College there of Further Education. And I realised that some people in the area weren't accessing the arts the way they might have done, either because of their social circumstances, maybe disability, maybe different language. And in the area, there was a lot of social problems. I was teaching young, mainly women, coming back to education. Yeah. And we were right beside the Abbey Theatre, but they would never think of going there. So I started up the festival to make it more accessible, to make the arts more accessible for the people that live in the area, but also to bring people into the area from outside. The northeast inner city, where the festival is based, has got a very bad name.
I was just saying that to everybody here.
Yeah, it's got a very bad name in the city, and you know that's not always merited. Yeah. You know, it's like any place. One person can give it a bad name, and then you have 99 other people who are just grand people.
Right.
So in the area there are a lot of initiatives. Recently, in the last 7 or 8 years, we've had a new initiative called the Northeast Inner City Initiative, and that's where the Taoiseach, when Enda Kenny was a Taoiseach, so it's a few years ago now, he set up a task force to try and bring life back into the area. And we had been going before that, and so we get funding from the NEIC because they see what we do as a very good idea. And so during the year, we do arts events in schools and in workplaces and in adult day centres and libraries. So we do that throughout the year. We have no sort of funding directly. We get funded from the Arts Council, Dublin City Council, the Northeast Inner City, and then we have other people like other places like Dublin Port give us funding. We get funding from First na Gaeilge because we do some of our events through Irish, so we get some funding from them, and we get some private funding from corporations. One is CJK, for example, and they're based in the Blanchardstown area. They have an office over there, and the reason that they started funding us was because I met the CEO and had a chat with him in our Irish class. I wasn't playing golf. That's where apparently you meet CEOs of very well-off companies. But no, mine was just by chance. The guy was sitting beside me in Irish class, and his family had come originally from the East Wall, Sheriff Street area, and he was delighted to be able to make a donation and support us, and he has continued to support us. So it's great to have that kind of. We get private funding, but we also get funding from the Arts Council and Dublin City Council there, and the NEIC is our biggest funder.
Right. Were you confident at the start that people would come?
Well, at the start, I was still working as a teacher in the North Strand, and I had my own audience because I was bringing my students and getting them to bring their families to events. And then I realised that there were so many things in the area. Like, it's the area where Sean O'Casey was born, where James Joyce lived, where Peter Sheridan and Jim Sheridan were born and lived, and where there's a huge amount of other writers. Brendan Behan, for example. There's lots of writers that have come from the area. And you know, in a way, you're trying to show off the area. Yeah. So we have a lot of events. Like, for example, this year we have a couple of films around Brendan Behan. Right. So Brendan Behan was born in Russell Street, which is in our area. And one of the things that he did as a young man, he wrote a poem, and it was called The Laughing Boy. And this poem was about Michael Collins, and he was a hero of Brendan Behan's family and particularly his mother. And Brendan wrote the poem, and then he needed it and he stuck it into one of his plays. This was after the play was written. But in the 1960s, the Greek people were being pressured by the dictators in Greece, the military dictatorship, and a music composer from Greece, found Brendan Behan's poem, put it to music. Wow. And in Greece, they think that this poem, which is now a song that they all sing, this rebel song, is Greek. But actually, the sentiments and the words all came from the northeast inner city, from Brendan Behan. So we have a lot in the northeast inner city to celebrate. Yeah. Recently, there was a plaque put up at the place where Brendan Behan was born, where we have the Fighting Words Institution, which was set up by Roddy Doyle. And at that inauguration, putting up the plaque, they showed a film called The Laughing Boy, which is about the song that's sung in Greece, and Greek people think it's Greek, but actually it's Irish.
And the poem that Brendan Behan
based in the poem that Brendan Behan wrote. Yeah. So they showed the film, and we're actually showing that in the Odeon during the festival, the Odeon at the Point. So that's one of the films we're showing. We're also showing a fantastic film about a man called Charlie O'Leary.
Yeah.
Charlie O'Leary, that film will be on at 7:30 on the 18th of April. That film about Charlie O'Leary is newly produced. It's the director is Alan Gilsenan, and it's about a man who minded the kit for the Irish soccer team. Charlie is still around. He'll be at the show in the Odeon. He's 102. If we could all live to that age. Brilliant. Yeah, and the film is supposed to be absolutely fantastic. And the fact that you have the hero of the film in the cinema on the evening would be great, and people can get a chance to see him and say hello. We have lots and lots of events for every kind of person, every kind of interest.
When we go back to 2007, was it very successful?
Well, let's say it just about washed its face.
Okay.
I was working as a teacher. I organised some walking tours along the Royal Canal. And we had some music, and we had some exhibitions, art exhibitions. But it was very tame compared to what we're doing now.
Okay.
And it just about managed to get over the hump. You know, we weren't in debt. We didn't insult too many people, and we were still going the following year. So it kept going for years and years after that.
Yeah. Compare then to now.
Now it's a completely different festival. It's still rooted in the community because I work in the community still. I don't teach anymore. I've retired, but it's part of my day to be there. Just to go back to the reference about golf, it's my golf. It's pastime. Yeah. I don't get I don't get money from what I'm doing. And most of the people that work in the event are volunteers. We have a huge number of volunteers. I think this year 80 people have signed up to be volunteers, and that's wonderful because for people who are coming into the community, it gives them a chance to get to know the area. It's a lot different. We have theatre shows. One of them is called Chop, and this is said to be dangerously funny.
Oh, really?
Dangerously funny. We have two shows on the same day. One that we're doing for schools. It's about masculinity and environmental collapse. There's real danger during the show, and real questions, no solutions, and lots of laughs. Wow. So during the show, apparently, there's a fella chopping wood on the stage. Now, we're not supposed to be chopping wood. We're supposed to be all plugging into your
safety and all that.
Yeah, we're trying to save the environment. But anyway, this fella is chopping wood, high energy. It should be great fun. We have a school show at 11 o'clock on the 13th of April, and we have a show for the public at 7 p.m. in the evening, and that show is in the Sean O'Casey Theatre on St Mary's Road in East Wall. Very easy to get to, near the Lewis, near the Dart, and there's lots of bus routes in that way.
Fabulous. How many people attend?
Well, we use the Sean O'Casey Theatre.
Yeah.
And we have 156 seats there.
And you fill it?
We fill it most of the time.
Yeah.
Not for everything. We have a show that we had last year called Paddy. It's about Paddy Armstrong.
Yeah.
He was one of the Guildford Four.
Yeah.
And his story is really, really sad because for 15 years he was incarcerated in British jails, given no succour at all in all the time he was there. And, you know, when he was arrested as a young man, he was just a layabout.
Yeah.
He was into taking acid and listening to music. He wasn't doing any work. He wasn't involved in any political associations. He was just hanging about in London, having a bit of a laugh and having a good time.
Yeah.
And then the British police arrested him. And then for 15 years he was in jail.
Yeah.
You know, poor Paddy. He lives near me in Clontarf. Yeah, I've seen him all my since my kids were young, because he married a teacher, a music teacher in the local school, and they have 2 children. And so I saw those kids growing up. I saw Paddy walking around the place and living a life of a free man after all that time.
Isn't it great?
It must be amazing for him.
Yeah.
You know, it's really great. And the play is absolutely magic. Don Wycherley is the actor. It's 1 hour of complete entertainment, but also education.
I know the story, so absolutely entertainment.
Oh yeah, it's complete entertainment. It's really fantastic, that show. Yeah.
I remember him coming out and making a speech, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, that was Jerry Conlon made the speech.
Yeah,
Paddy came out.
Armstrong made a little speech
Yeah.
away from everybody.
He did. He came out quietly because he was very, very traumatised.
Yeah,
All of them were.
Of course.
All of them were. And at that time in the 70s and 80s in Ireland, and in England rather, being Irish was a difficult thing, you know.
So how many people are involved in the organisation of the festival?
So in the organisation, there's me, I'm the artistic director, and then we have a project manager, Marcella Parducci, and she works with me all year round. We have 2 people on CE schemes, Colin Hurd and Andrea Kett, and then we have 1 person who does our social media, who used to be on a CE scheme with us, but we've retained her. She does a few hours a week. And then we have our magical Eduardo, who lives in Brazil, but who's coming over now shortly to manage all the filming and all of that, the editing. And then we've Conor McKeag, who's just arrived from Norway. He's our production manager. And we have this tight team of 5 or 6 people. We all trust each other. We work really hard at putting the shows together. And then we have about 80 volunteers.
Yeah. And they're very important.
They're absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. Yeah. We've had interns over the year. German guy just left us there a couple of weeks ago. He was going around with me, putting the last minute touches to everything, and he is a magician. He went into a couple of the schools, showed off his wares, but unfortunately he had to go back. But we're getting a French intern on Monday, so let's hope that it works out. You know,
fabulous. So if I go into town, where it's all at, is there street stuff?
There will be street stuff, yes. We're very, very lucky that the Dublin town, Richard Guiney from Dublin town, arranged for us to get a large space in the Jervis Street shopping centre. So in that centre, there's going to be an exhibition. 5 artists are going to be there. So it's in it's not an old shop, you know, it's a shop that's empty, and they don't have anyone coming in for the next month or so. So they've allowed us to go in, which is fantastic, because in the shops they have all these lights that you can angle to the artworks, you know, like they're angled normally to the clothes, but this time they'll be angled to the artwork, and that will give us a great stand. Also, on one day during the festival, you know, Wolfetone Square, which is at the... So in Wolfetone Square, we're going to have a guy there called Dylan Quinn. So Dylan will be dancing, and he'll be inviting people from the passers-by to come in and join him. So that'll be great crack. I think that'll be really, really good. We also have a new... exhibition space down in the IFSC. It's called the International Centre for the Image, and there we'll have a dance battle. That'll be on the
Dance.
a dance battle. Yes.
Street dance?
Street dance, but it'll be
Brilliant.
inside in a large space, and you'll be able to see it from the Lewis. Actually,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see it. It's at Cooper's Cross, and there's also other dance events there during the week. Dance is something that we've really embraced. We have a dance event on the 11th of April in the Shauna Casey Theatre again, where people are invited to get involved in a shake dance. So you go along, and it's free actually, that one, and you can just dance with the artists that are organising that. We have comedy, and we have workshops in the Gate Theatre.
Comedy workshops?
No, we have comedy. We've got a comedy showcase in Annesley House, and that's a pub at the Tolka. And we also have a comedian doing stand-up with children, so that'll be great fun. So on 11 o'clock on the same day, we have a comedian working with kids, and we should have great fun there. We have jazz. So jazz is quite a small niche area in music, and we have a group called the Cow Trio.
Wow.
So we've had them before. They come over from England. The age range is from in mid-80s. The drummer is in his mid-80s, Spike Wells. And then we have Eddie Meyer. He's the bass player. And then the youngest is sax player from Ireland, actually, from Galway, Riley, and he is in his 30s. So that's a good
mix.
That's a good mix. Yeah, we try to have things that are interesting and collaborative and good fun.
Now you use a lot of premises.
We use an awful lot of premises, yes. So we spread it out around the northeast inner city.
Yeah.
We have an event down at the port in the substation there. We've an exhibition there, and that exhibition is called Substrata. There are 4 artists in that exhibition, led by Claire Halpin. When the festival is over, that exhibition is going to go to Liverpool, because we have a connection, Liverpool, Dublin, for the next year, cultural connection. We use Falch Ireland. We're having an event there in Falch Ireland on Amiens Street. We have the Fire Station Artist Studios in Buckingham Street.
Wow.
There we have people will show you around the artist studios, because there's a residential place there. We have the Gate Theatre, as I've said. Mud Island Community Garden, that's a fantastic community garden, and we have a full day there on the 19th of April.
Wow.
So there's music, puppetry, play places, so families can come along. The only thing it is it's outside, so we have to make sure that there's no rain that day.
How do you organise that?
How do I organise it?
Everybody wants to know.
So organising is in my head all year round. I'm very bad at putting things on paper. So Marcella, who works with me, she draws up a master plan. We fill the master plan. We try to work with all the artists, and then everybody that's working with us, for instance, Connor, the production manager, he's coming in today, and he'll start looking at all the events to make sure that we have all the technical requirements. And that everything is covered. The only thing that you can't cover is in a thing like this, the weather, if it's an outside event, and if somebody gets ill and you can't do the event, because most of the artists that we're working with, they don't have understudies or anything like that, you know, so they are dependent on doing that gig, whatever the gig is. And we have a lot of support from other, you know, national bodies. So the OPW, for example, they're opening the Custom House to us, and the Custom House will organise walking tours inside the Custom House. So that's really good for us.
That's a very extensive set of activities.
Absolutely, and that's the way it is. It's quite compact. All the events are on the north side of the city. We have like from the King's Inns, we have a walking tour from there all the way down to the port, but it's all on the north side, northeast inner city. And my aim at the beginning was to animate that area, to make it live, to make it bright, to have people talk about the place, and that's what's happening. So we're getting people to come to all of the events.
because you use so many premises, there must be a charge for some of them.
Some of them, yes, we do have to pay.
Yeah.
But for instance, Dublin Port, they're going to give us money. They're not going to charge us.
That's nice.
The Jervis Street Shopping Centre, they're giving us that place for free. And that's really wonderful because it animates the space for them, but also it gives us a wonderful exhibition space, because sometimes, and we've been talking about this with other arts festivals in the city, sometimes places get closed down because of a fire regulation or something like that, and it doesn't get reopened again for a long time.
Yes.
So for example, in the northeast inner city, we lost the D-Light Studios, which was a huge old grain store, wool store. It was built as a wool store in the 19th century, and then in the 20th century it was a garage, a carriage maker and a garage then. And then about 15 years ago, a Polish woman took it over and had it as a dance studio, an artist studio, a television studio. And then Dublin City Council said it was not safe.
Yeah.
Now, that's a huge problem, because then when it's closed down, it takes years for these things to reopen. And for community and for the artists, we need spaces. We really, really do. Some of the spaces that we're using are quite small. Well, we were very lucky. The Cathal Brua Fete, that's the CDETB college in North Strand, they're giving us a space, and they did it last year as well. I used to work there, so it's all I used to work there as a teacher, so it's about who you know sometimes. So they're not charging us there, but of course the Sean O'Casey Theatre are charging us, but it's a nominal fee really, because you pay a lot more for a commercial theatre. To the James Joyce Centre, where we're having a reading, they would also charge us, and so will the Irish Writers Centre. But all of these places, they're not charging us an astronomical amount of money.
Good.
It's really just to offset their costs, so we're not a drain on them, but also we're bringing people to these places.
Yeah. And obviously it's great advertisement for the place, because they'll see what's on next week and the week after.
Exactly. And these places need constant occupation. They need constant events happening.
How do people find out what's going on?
Everything is in our website. Okay. We also have brochures. So our website is fivelampsarts.ie, but we also have brochures, and we have an Instagram, Five Lamps Arts, Instagram, Facebook, all the usual social media platforms.
For Five Lamps Art.
Five Lamps Arts.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key that brings you to all the wonder.
And I hope it's an absolute brilliant fest.
Well, we hope so too. And we invite people from the Blanchardstown, the Mulhuddard area to come into town. A lot of people from these areas out in this part of the world originated in the inner city, and it's a way for them to come back in, have a look at where your granny came from, come along to some of the events, bring your grandchildren and say, I used to live here, and be proud of the place. Great day to come in is on the family day, but there are other events that you might come in to see.
Excellent. Last and most important question. When is it on?
So it starts on the 11th of April and finishes on the 19th. There's actually one exhibition that's opening on the 9th of April, and that's an exhibition of photographs by Colin Pearce. Colin lives in Vietnam, but he's from the Ballybock, Sheriff Street area, and he took a lot of photographs in the 80s and the 90s of local people, and that's what the photographs are going to be about. So we're really looking forward to meeting him and to seeing his work, and that'll be in the Charleville Mall Library in North Strand.
Excellent. Roisin Lonergan, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Disability Matters, and the very, very best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And one thing I didn't say.
Go on.
One thing, when you're talking about Disability Matters, we have one play called Full Circle. So this is about the life of James Rickard, who's living with cerebral palsy. So I don't want to say what his age is, but he's after retiring a while ago.
Very good.
So he's still...
So he's 35.
At least. Now, James never let disability stop him doing anything. He has been all over the world going to the opera. He saw opera in St. Petersburg. Now, you wouldn't be going to Petersburg at this time with all the carry-on over in with Russia. But he goes to the opera. He's a great guy. And Anto Siri from East Wall has worked with James, and they have made a play about James's life. This will be on in the community room in the Gate Theatre.
Yeah.
Now, it is booked out, but I have no doubt that this play will be on again.
Right.
And just look out for Full Circle by Anto Siri and James Rickard.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Not at all.
All the best to you.